Welcome to Massive Late Fee. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. It is June 17th, 1994. My name is Mark. With me as always is my girlfriend Carol. How you doing, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
It's been a good week here for us at Massive Late Fee. That is more than I can say about O.J. Simpson's week.
Right?
So, I guess we should get right into it. This is the only news that we'll be covering today, but there's quite a lot of it. For those of you who haven't heard, on June 12th, 1994, O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, was murdered with a man named Ronald Goldman outside of her Brentwood home in California. Everyone sympathy poured in to O.J. for quite a while.
Right.
And her funeral was a couple days ago, June 16th. And I think I said it was June 17th. It's June 18th, in case you guys didn't know what the date was. But, June 16th was the funeral. And then, yesterday, June 17th, O.J. Simpson, I'm watching the NBA Finals. Carol's not watching it with me, but
No.
I'm watching the NBA Finals, and suddenly it gets interrupted for a white car on the screen in the middle of a freeway being followed by police, and it's O.J. Simpson. And I called Carol. Carol, obviously every show got interrupted.
Right.
But,
I wasn't watching TV, but...
She turned it on and started watching it too. And, we watched his Ford Bronco running. OJ, Carol, can you explain any of this to me?
I don't know what do you not understand, honey? What needs explaining?
I don't understand why he did it. I don't understand that weird note that Robert Kardashian read to the press. I don't understand any of it.
Okay, well, I don't know that he did it. I mean, it's
No, I don't understand why he got in the Bronco that's what I'm talking about doing.
Oh.
I'm not saying he killed her. I mean, they arrested him for it.
Well,
but
yeah.
I'm not saying that he's 100% guilty. He's a megastar. I don't know why he would have to. I don't know why he would. When was the last time a celebrity of this stature killed somebody?
I don't know if ever, but why would he get in the white car with his friend and drive away? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm assuming it's because he didn't want to get arrested. I mean, why else would anybody evade the police? I mean, I don't know. And I mean, it makes him look guilty, for sure.
Okay, where could O.J. Simpson have gone to evade police?
Well, I mean, if he was panicked, then he's not thinking clearly.
What about the note?
Tell me again about this note. I don't know what you're talking about.
Robert Kardashian, his friend, who's I think a real estate lawyer. He's some sort of lawyer, but not a criminal defense lawyer. Read a note from OJ about, just, I don't know, it sounded like an acceptance speech.
What?
It was just all about, it was like a suicide note. It was like all about, these things you think I've done, or, talking about Nicole, how much you loved her, all this crap and everything. And that's what I thought. I thought this was going to end in him killing himself after I heard this note. And supposedly maybe he had a gun. I don't know. But I know that AC, Al Collins, was driving the Bronco. And eventually, he went to his mom's house. And then eventually he went back to his Brentwood home. And then eventually he surrendered to police.
I'm more confused as to why AC was driving him in this car than that he was running away from the police in the first place. What would possess somebody to help him run like that?
I don't know. He's He's one of OJ's friends. I don't know. I guess
Not a very good one.
I don't know. I feel like if I murdered you
Oh. Okay, so that's where we're going to go with this today.
and then asked like Mike to drive me to my mom's, I guess. I don't know. He might do it, you know. I don't know. I'll have to ask him later if he would.
Wow. Okay, so if, like, my friend did something wrong and they're running away from the police, I'd have a talk with them and explain to them how stupid they were being and get them to surrender. Why are you laughing? What is so funny?
OJ, so you killed her. What you're doing is wrong. Yeah, that'd probably work. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of any of this. It's weird. I was convinced that he didn't do it because he's rich.
What?
And they're just better than us. No.
What?
No, because he's rich and I thought, okay, so you want to kill your ex-wife. And this guy that maybe she's having an affair with, I don't know. Apparently he was returning glasses to her because she had eaten at the restaurant that he was at. But anyway, let's say you wanted to do that, right? You'd hire someone. I mean, logically, you would think if you have a bunch of money and you want somebody dead, you could find someone to do that deadening for you.
Deadening.
Without you having to get your hands dirty, so to speak.
Well, here's the thing, though. You're assuming that he thought it out. You're assuming that this was planned. Like, hey, I want to kill her, and I want to kill this guy. I mean, the very fact that he killed them both, to me, seems unplanned. Maybe he got upset. Maybe he saw them together, and it was a crime of passion.
Yeah. Okay. So what, he's like spying on them?
Maybe. Who
Interesting.
knows?
That's an interesting theory. So, some stuff started to come out. Apparently, OJ was abusive to Nicole when they were together.
I'm not surprised.
He says that he denied killing her in the note,
Of course.
whatever that means, and said, I can't go on. He's got kids. He and Nicole have had kids, so they're caught up in all this stuff.
Yeah, they're the ones I feel the most, sorry for.
Like I said, I mean, I was convinced he didn't do it. Not convinced, but I was leaning towards not thinking he did it. And it's O.J. Simpson. I mean, what the hell? But then this happened. He ran from the police. He's got a gun. He writes this note. All of it's really, really, really weird.
I mean, I want to know why the police suspect him in the first place before I really have any kind of opinion on the matter.
Well, according to, and I went out just for you guys, by the way, and bought a copy of the LA Times at a local shop, even though I don't have a subscription to it anymore. But according to what I have read, the reason that they started to chase him, the reason they were going to arrest him, the reason that he has been arrested, is because supposedly there was blood found at his house.
Okay.
I don't know, but there's obviously there was a lot of blood at the scene. But there was also blood at his house and maybe in his car. So, obviously that looks bad when someone has been killed and then the police start investigating and they find blood in your car and then in your house or at your house.
Yeah, that definitely does not look good.
So, I don't know, maybe he cut himself shaving 1,000 times. Maybe he was just trying to shave in the car while he was driving. And maybe that's why AC was driving this time. It's like, hey, AC, I need to get a shave in.
Right.
You got to drive me. Yeah, maybe he just wanted to look good in the photos when he got arrested. But maybe he was just shaving and grooming in the back there.
Okay. The whole reason he's being arrested is because he was shaving. Or, no. Because there was already blood. That's all. There was already blood. Shut up.
Yeah. He got arrested for shaving. No, it's funny. I don't know. There's something ironic about O.J. Simpson running from the place because he was a running back in the NFL.
Okay.
The juice is loose. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird story. But we'll continue to bring updates to you every week on the story, if there are updates, assuming that OJ doesn't hang himself in his cell or whatever.
Right.
Tragic story, though. I mean, at the end of the day, a woman and man are dead.
And there are children who both lost their mother and now their father's in jail. So.
Right. So we will continue our comedy show.
Right.
About no massive love today. Love is not in the air because of the ex-wife getting murdered.
Yeah.
But assalamu alaikum to any Muslim ministers out there looking to build a nation. Anyway, so now let's get into our continuing coverage of 90210. Carol, take it away.
All right, so this week's episode focused mostly on Brenda. And
I'm going to be totally honest with you, because we watched this a few days ago. I'm not 100% sure what I don't remember the episode or how it went. So
well, good. That means you won't interrupt me to correct me a bunch of times. Now, as I was saying, Brenda.
Which one's Brenda?
Seriously?
Oh, you know what? I remember the episode now. The dark-haired one.
Yeah, the
Brendan.
The female of the set of twins is
the female
Brenda.
of the species. Brenda is Brendan's.
Shannon Doherty.
Yeah.
Doherty.
You haven't noticed that I've called him Brendan yet.
Okay, Brendan.
Brandon.
Okay, Brendan.
All right. It's an odd response, but okay.
I don't know. I'm a little slap happy, people. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
Yeah, you're telling me. No, what you doing?
Shut up.
Okay.
Brenda was shopping with her friends.
More than 3 dates. Yeah, shopping with the friends.
And, well, actually, let me back it up. They were talking about Les Mis in class.
That's true.
That's how it started.
Victor Hugo's Les Miserables.
Right. And so, just in case anybody out there is not familiar with the story, I can't imagine that anyone isn't, but the guy stole bread.
Jean Valjean.
Yeah. Stole bread to feed his family. And he ends up getting, 20 years in jail?
Something like that.
Yeah. So, they're discussing all the, moral implications of this and everything. And Brenda then goes out shopping with Kelly and one of Kelly's friends. And
guest star of the week.
And she's looking at clothes that, obviously she can't afford. Or, I don't even get that. I think they probably could afford the clothes. I think that her family just hasn't, caught up to the fact that they're rich and live in Beverly Hills yet. I think they're still in a Minnesota mindset. But, I mean, look at their house. There's no way they don't have some money to throw the kids for clothes.
Well, they obviously get money later or live a different lifestyle later. That they change as people.
Right.
Clearly, as it goes on. But I don't know. I get the impression early on that they don't have as much money as other people do. And I think that's supposed to be I think that's on purpose. It's like a fish out of water thing.
Right, but I mean, they're already fish out of water, whether they have money or not, considering they came from Minnesota.
Right.
And again, I mean, you might be right. Maybe the dad gets some promotions between now and when we started watching. But, I feel like they're just not used to it yet.
That house ain't cheap that they're living in, I'll tell you that much.
Right.
Not in California.
Right. And, so they're out shopping, and she looks at something that's like hundreds of dollars, and her friends are like, "Oh, you should get it." Like it's just no big deal. Like fucking, rich spoiled bitches. And obviously
Carol had a lot of emotions in this episode.
Obviously she can't. And you can tell she considers for a moment stealing. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't.
Very equivalent to stealing to feed your family.
Right. And then Kelly I think she's like, oh, I'm just going to buy these 5 things when they're walking out the door. Now, you've seen the friend that's with them has shoplifted. Right. But nobody knows that.
Just us.
Right. And so Kelly, who has lots of money, is spending it. And Brenda is wishing she had money. And the other one's just like, fuck it, I'm taking what I want. And so then Brenda's bringing up in class whether or not it is worse to steal for a good reason, like to feed your family, or to want to steal for a bad reason but not doing it. What do you think?
It's an interesting question that the show does nothing with.
Yeah.
She asks it once and it's never addressed again.
That's why I wanted to see what you thought about it.
So, if you look at Les Miserables as an example of stealing to feed your family, I mean, I don't think that's wrong, really.
No, I don't either.
Honestly, I think a society that sets itself up where people have to steal to feed their family is wrong.
Agreed.
So I don't think that that's wrong at all. But wanting to steal, I mean, I think they're kind of equivalently not wrong, honestly, because, having a fleeting thought about something, having the fortitude to resist temptation, I don't think that's wrong either, honestly. I mean, right. I'm not Jimmy Carter over here in that Playboy interview when they asked him, if he'd ever committed adultery, or I don't remember exactly the context of the question, but I remember his answer was that he felt bad because he had lusted in his heart.
Well, the Bible does say that's wrong.
Yeah, and he was penitent over it, basically. So, but I always thought that was like, wow, that guy's devout.
Right.
That guy was way too nice to be president of the United States. But anyway, so I don't know. I guess I would say it's a boring answer, but I guess I would say they're equally not wrong.
I kind of agree with you. I went into this thinking that at least technically it's worse to want to do something bad than to do something bad for a good reason. But, I mean, I guess you're right that, standing up to the temptation kind of negates the wrongness of the want in the first place.
Right.
So that's that's Brenda's storyline for now. We're going to go back to her.
Okay.
Brandon.
Yeah, that's his name.
Gets a job. I think, yeah, okay, so he gets a job working in a restaurant. It's a weird job interview situation, though. Like, the boss is weird. He doesn't even think he's getting the job, and then she hires him, and then she yells at him for showing up early. I mean, the whole thing's just weird.
Apparently, this is what LA's like, I guess. I don't know.
And then, he thinks he's been hired as a waiter, but he's actually been hired to be a busboy. And, she says he has to start, from the bottom and work his way up, which is fine. But he looks around, and everybody who's working with him at his level are, foreign. They're, immigrants.
True. Yeah.
And then he finds out during the course of things, he's being treated like crap. And he's like, man, this isn't worth minimum wage. And they're like, you get minimum wage? Good for you. So, yeah, he gets really upset when he finds out that they're not getting paid right. So he goes off on her and quits.
Handles it in the most high school way ever.
Right.
I write for the school newspaper. And I know you might not care, but a lot of parents read that school newspaper. I contend that no parents read that school newspaper, because everything we've heard from every guest star is, my parents aren't around, my parents don't care about me, my parents aren't here.
Right.
That's Dylan. That's that one girl that he didn't have sex with, that he wanted to have sex with. That Betty chick, her parents certainly weren't around.
Right.
The one this week, her parents aren't around. No parents are around, but they're reading the school newspaper. What, to see pictures of their kids?
Kelly's mom's around, but she doesn't like getting woken up before, noon, so I get a feeling she's not reading the school paper.
Exactly. So, yeah, I contend that he's wrong and no parents are. I think he's way overestimating the readership of his newspaper. But anyway, yeah, he's like, oh, a lot of parents read it, and, they're not going to come into your crummy restaurant and everything. It's like, okay. Yeah, an established LA restaurant closes.
Right. And then, him and Dylan take off, and Dylan takes him to, guess where? The Peach Pit. It all seamlessly comes together.
Yeah, it's very seamless.
And he meets Nat for the first time.
Who's Nat?
He's the guy that runs the Peach Pit.
That guy's name is Nat?
I thought so, yeah.
All right. Like a bug.
And he ends up hiring Brandon. So doesn't he still work there? Like in these later episodes we're watching? I don't know if they just all spend a lot of time there or...
I don't think he works there anymore. I think he's just doing the thing for the dean or whatever at the school.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But yeah, they all spend... It's a staple of the show, so it was kind of cool to see...
Dylan's mom works there.
The introduction. It's not Dylan's mom.
Well, Dylan's... The woman that's scamming...
Right. The
Dylan
woman who
works
cons
there.
him, yeah. His
His dad's extramarital affair or whatever it is. We'll find out.
Yeah. And then we go back to Brenda. Her friend leaves a bunch of clothes in her closet that she stole.
Yeah.
She lies to her, first of all, about stealing. Like Brenda, brings up the whole, or no, I think the girl asks her if she's ever stolen, and she's like, no, I don't think I could. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, can I leave some stuff here?
With tags on them?
Right, and Brenda...
Because I'm a very good thief.
Right. Brenda doesn't even, bat an eye, ask what she's, leaving or anything. She's just like, sure.
Right.
It's so weird.
O.J. Simpson dropped by and said, can I leave this knife here?
Sure. And then her mom finds these clothes. Oh, wait.
Wait.
Before that happens, doesn't she have to pick her up?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so her and her friend...
They go out again, they're hanging out again.
After she's already stole all the shit she hid in her closet.
This is after she takes her shirt off, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Or her dress.
Yeah, she changed her clothes in the hallway at school. That was very bizarre.
She didn't change her clothes.
She didn't. I thought she took off one shirt and put on a different shirt.
No, David Silver was there filming her.
See how he still corrects me even though he said he wasn't gonna?
Filming her and Brenda for some reason. I don't know why. Something about the newspaper, or not the newspaper, the yearbook or something like that. They're doing a video yearbook, I guess. But anyway, so he's filming them, and she says, oh, I know what you really want to see. And she takes her dress off, and she's just wearing a bra. And then he faints comically, and then she just puts it back on.
Okay, so they're shopping again in the same store.
Yeah.
That's where I think their first mistake was. You don't go back to the same store you just stole from.
Returning to the scene of the crime.
And she asks Brenda to get something for her in a different size, thinking that's going to distract from what she's doing. Brenda doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah, she only calls attention to it.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, my friend over there.
Yeah, the person behind the counter, the woman behind the counter, just had her head buried under the counter for something, and she, got her to pop up.
It was all really stupid, and then she gets mad at Brenda, like it's her fault that this lady looks at her. No, it's your fault for sending her over there in the first place. But they end up in shopping jail. Basically, they're in the office.
Yeah, in the back,
and they're being interrogated, and they're gonna call their parents and all this shit. They're gonna call the police, but the rich girl, who by the way could afford to buy anything anyway.
It's how all good pornos start, where it's just two women back there, and then the manager comes,
who's a man.
You guys have been stealing.
Yeah, she shrugs her shirt down a little bit and takes her hair down. She's like, "I'll take care of this." Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was how all good pornos start.
Oh wow. Okay.
But anyways, she's like, I would never steal. Why would I? I can buy anything I want. I have receipts showing I've spent thousands of dollars in your store. Mm-hmm. And here, I'll just write a check for everything because I was going to pay for it anyway. So, he still calls their parents. Her parents don't come because they're not there. But Brenda's parents do.
Mm-hmm.
So, even though Brenda's explaining she didn't do anything, which she didn't.
I want to point out that Dylan right away with that, twin psychic connection or whatever.
Dylan.
Oh, sorry, not Dylan, Brandon. he says, she couldn't have done this kind of thing. It's funny because it parallels to the last season that we just watched with her supposedly sleeping with that guy.
Yeah.
Like he didn't do the same thing with her then. He didn't say, I know she didn't do it.
No, Dylan did.
Yeah, but here he says, she couldn't shoplift. She doesn't have that kind of personality. And the mom is that was before LA. They've been there a week.
Yeah, the mom is being really weird. They got a cleaning lady that she's decided to befriend because, I don't know.
Was her name Consuelo?
Something like that. But, the kids kind of bother me with their attitude. Like, they're, looking down at mom because she's helping the cleaning lady clean.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And, it is weird behavior. I get that. But at the same time, it's like, if she's not used to having a cleaning lady, then whatever. But mom's just, complaining. I think she was complaining last episode, too, about being there.
She's, we don't get much character development of the adults in the show, obviously. But like that Spanish teacher that came on to the principal, nothing's happened with that yet.
Right.
But anyway, so we don't get a lot. But they try to shoehorn in about 5 minutes of screen time for the parents, just so that they can, pay them still. But yeah, she mentions that she lost all her friends too. I mean, if you think about it, moving across the country, even as an adult, that's a huge adjustment as well.
I think it'd probably be even harder for an adult because, think about it, at least Brenda's, making friends at school. Her mom doesn't even have a job.
Yeah,
She's
mom.
just at home all the time.
At home all day.
That's got to be terrible.
Maybe he hired a friend for her.
Right? So, so mom finds the clothes. Or actually, Consuela, or whatever her name is, finds the clothes and asks what she should do with them. She's got this basket full of clothes with tags on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that just cements it now for the mom that, of course, Brenda is stealing.
Right.
Even though she kind of agreed to believe that she didn't steal the first time.
And Brenda wanted money for something. Horseback riding or something.
Was it horseback?
I think it was something like that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They were going to go on a trip. Like a horseback riding trip.
Mm-hmm.
And mom said no?
Yeah, they couldn't afford it.
Oh, I guess they don't have that much money. Okay. So Brenda and her mom get in this huge fight. Because Brenda is so hurt that her mom would even think that of her. And her mom's like, but what else can I think? Look at the evidence, which I get. I mean, what would you think? I would assume that my daughter stole. So they go through all that, and then Brenda goes to her friend. And this is just the weirdest scene in the whole show. She goes to her friend's house, who's sunbathing by the pool.
Yeah.
And she's talking to her and telling her how, she has just screwed her up in her relationship with her mom. And, she needs to know I didn't steal and all this stuff. And she's like, who cares? My parents aren't even around.
Right.
And finally, Brenda looks around and says, hey, who are those guys? There are just these random guys. And they don't look like high school boys.
No, and they're just sitting on the deck chairs in the back of the scene, just staring at what's going on.
They never say anything.
No.
Probably so they don't have to get paid scale.
Yeah.
But it's pretty creepy.
It is really weird.
Teenage girls just chilling with these grown-ass men.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a big falling out. They're not going to be friends anymore, obviously. But she...
well, you would think.
The friend feels bad enough that she goes to Brenda's house and confesses to her mother that she is the one that stole the stuff.
Yeah, in a sly way, where she's like, oh, I want the stuff that I left here.
Yeah.
And then her mom kind of, softens and says, I don't know. She tries to be motherly to her.
Yeah, she asked something about her parents, and she's like, my parents aren't around or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it was.
She says, maybe you're trying to get your parents' attention or something.
Was it, yeah. That's what my shrink says.
Right. And she says, "Oh, maybe just try more direct approach." We're never going to see this woman again anyway.
No.
But
Yeah, they just kind of seem to, at this point in the show, just be cycling people through to maybe make a storyline with, but not really.
yeah, I guess they don't really care much about what's her name, Jenny Garth's character's name,
Kelly.
They don't care much about her, and Aaron Spelling is just or Tori Spelling's just there because Aaron Spelling made a series of phone calls,
Right?
but they haven't given her much of anything to do yet.
It's still amazing to me how much prettier she was in the beginning of the show than she is years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that was pretty. Oh, yeah, that's the episode because then they all just end up together that night when Brandon comes home and he's like, "Yeah, I worked 2 jobs today, Dad," and then they all eat Consuela's food that she brought over.
Mystery meats, whatever they called it.
Melting pot mystery meat. It was the most racist, terrible thing that I've ever heard anybody say. And then they started eating it like, "Oh, this is delicious." Yeah, it is, you bastards.
Yeah, it was probably Mexican pie, is my guess.
And the thing is, at first, Brenda's mom is trying to, Carol, right? Her name's Carol, too.
Yeah.
Trying to get rid of the cleaning lady. So, basically she fires her, but she doesn't understand she's been fired, and then she shows up with this.
Yeah, she doesn't speak English because, we gotta...
It's California.
We gotta perpetuate that stereotype.
Anyway. So I guess I'll keep her? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe
Jim has to have a conversation with whoever he had a conversation with in the first place to get her there, because telling her is not working.
I don't remember her in the last season that we watched.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, it's possible that a waiter returned some glasses to her. OJ just murdered her.
Oh my goodness.
Before this season.
Okay, so that was the show.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Have you ever shoplifted anything?
I plead the fifth. Let me tell you.
Do you think police will listen to this?
No.
Why don't you tell a story about your friend Laryl?
Let me tell you, though, the girl who shoplifts in this episode does a really bad job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's just out in the open grabbing stuff and shoving it in a bag. First of all, most stores don't let you carry a bag.
She wants to get caught.
Although I guess since it's Beverly Hills, they just assume nobody's going to steal because they assume everybody has money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you go in the dressing room and you put the clothes on and then you wear them out.
Yeah, and for instance, let's say, that it's a few years ago and you were going to steal Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
You'd also go in the dressing room with the packages of the Turtles and, other clothes with you. And then you would take the Turtles out of the packages and then put them, on your person somewhere in pockets, things like that. And then leave the clothes in the dressing room and then just walk out.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then maybe, your friend Todd decides to go one day without you to do it, and that's the day they get caught, and you luck out and don't ever get caught.
Or maybe you try to teach one of your friends how to shoplift one day and realize that they are just not cut out for it when they put a pair of sunglasses on their head like they were wearing it, like you showed them, with the tag hanging off the middle of the sunglasses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a possibility. But, yeah, I mean, we don't shoplift.
No.
Clearly.
Of course not.
But, yeah, so that is 90210 for the week. If you're expecting a movie this week, you are going to be disappointed.
No, we saw a movie in the movie theater.
We did see a movie in the movie theater.
We took my little niece and nephew.
We saw something in the movie theater.
Hey, you didn't like it? See, we try not to discuss it before we do the show, so I'm surprised.
Well, I mean, all right. So we saw the Flintstones, because I don't know. I don't know why they made this movie. Our parents, were fans of this TV show. I mean, I watched it a little bit in reruns when I was a kid, but I don't know. A big part of the problem I have with this movie, The Flintstones, is that I don't know who it's made for. There are parts of it that are very clearly for kids, And then there are parts of it that are very clearly not for kids.
Well, that's what a family movie is. It has something for everybody, so you can all watch it and enjoy it.
I guess everyone can enjoy Holly Berry bent over a desk or whatever.
She was laying on it.
Yeah. But, all right. So this movie stars John Goodman from Roseanne. And what's that guy's name? Rick Moranis?
Yeah, from the Ghostbusters.
As Fred and Barney. Very good casting. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And then Rosie O'Donnell as Betty, and I can't remember the woman that plays Wilma, but she's been in other things.
Yeah, I recognize her face, but I'm not good with names.
Yeah, I can't remember what her name is.
Wasn't she in Big?
Yes.
She was the girlfriend.
Yes. But I still can't remember her name.
Right.
But she was. She was the woman that had sex with an 11-year-old.
Oh, come on. He was not an 11-year-old when they had sex. Don't be gross. And he was 13.
Yeah, whatever. Well, she's traumatized for that. That character in that movie is traumatized for life, by the way, after seeing her lover transport himself into, and like it'd be like having sex with a mentally, handicapped person or delayed person. Because, okay, he's a quote-unquote adult with an adult body, but he has the mentality of a child.
Yeah.
And that's what, that's the closest parallel that I can make.
That she fell in love with a child, yeah.
Yeah, that woman's love life is over. But anyway, so, yeah, that's her, but I can't remember her name. But she's good. No, it's not Elizabeth Perkins. Maybe it is. No, Elizabeth Perkins is somebody else, right? I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't know names.
Anyway, so the plot of this movie is really weird and convoluted. But basically, what happens is Barney and Wilma want a child, and for some reason they need money in the bank to adopt a child. I don't remember in the show them having to adopt, but maybe they did.
Yeah, I don't remember how they acquired the child. If I thought they just always had him.
How they acquired Bam Bam. But anyway, so Fred gives the money to him, and it kind of like the beginning just sort of shows their friendship and how they're best pals and all this stuff, and Fred would do anything for him and vice versa. And so at the quarry where they work, there's this comic villain. I mean, he's got slicked back hair, and the way he plays it, the whole demeanor is very, I'm a villain.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like...
I've seen him and stuff, too. I've seen him before, too.
Yeah.
I can't think of who he is or where, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where I've seen him, but I think he's been in bit roles and other things. But anyway, yeah. So he probably, it reminds me of that. What's that? I can't think of anything today. The Muppet movie. The Muppet movie where
not enough sleep.
That guy's like maniacal laugh. But anyway, so he's got some evil plan that he tells the audience and no one else. Well, he tells the audience and Holly Berry.
Yeah.
What his evil plan is going to be.
Because supposedly she's going to benefit from said plan.
Right. And, her name is Sharon Stone.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, and there's tons of... You know what would have been better is getting Sharon Stone to be in this movie. And then calling her Sharon Stone.
I don't think that she would ever agree to do this movie, though.
Well, but, there's a ton of prehistoric and rock puns in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the TV show. But anyway, so he tells her, I've got this evil plan and everything, but we've got to find the right person to be our patsy. So they design this test to see if somebody is qualified for management. Now, this is the weird part about it. Mm-hmm. They do this, and you're thinking, okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to look for the stupidest of the employees to be their patsy. but they don't. It's so, like, it makes no sense. So Barney and him both take the test, and everyone else takes the test as well. The guy from Night Court's there for some reason. And so they take the test, and Barney does really well, and Fred is terrible. So in order to pay him back for giving him the money so he can get Bam Bam, he switches the tests. And they're like, oh, Fred Flintstone, he's the one that scored the highest. And they're like, and the guy's like, oh, he's perfect because he's such an idiot. But he scored the highest on the test. So you would think maybe your initial impression was wrong and he's smarter than you would think. It's so weird. It should have just been Barney didn't have to switch the tests and it was the worst one.
But the reason that Barney had to switch the tests was because of the whole, paying each other back and the balancing. And, it was a whole theme through the whole movie.
Yeah.
But, you know what? I've been thinking about it. And I think that the reason they did it that way is because they were the only two in on this plan, right? They had to convince the rest of the company that this is an actual executive.
That's a solid point.
So maybe they didn't want to have a moron in the office.
Well, they got it.
Right?
But, yeah, I guess that's a solid point. So, he, goes to and is an executive. And then, basically, they start giving him a bunch of money. And, like, oh, you got to live like an executive and everything. So, he starts... Money changes them, basically. That's the point of it. Is that money changes them, and... Barney's out of a job, and he gets a series of, comedic jobs as the movie goes on.
Well, it's not just that Barney is out of a job. They get Fred to fire him.
Oh, yeah. They tell him, to fire him, and he doesn't want to fire him. And he says, well, if you don't fire him, I'll fire him, and then I'll fire you. So I guess there's really no decision there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he ever really explained it that way, though. I think he definitely should have made sure they understood that.
Yeah, he gives him a present, and then he says, you're fired. So almost making it sound like it was because he bought him that present. He continues to do his job and everything, and they start living it up, and money changes them. And then, what else happened? What's the next thing that happens? Oh, yeah. The other part of the plot that doesn't even need to exist, honestly, but it's there in the movie. It's just like layer upon layer.
Right.
Not only does this guy have a really horrible, evil plan to embezzle money from the company and go off to Rock-a-Poco with Halle Berry, he also has designed a new system that will put everyone in the quarry out of work, but also is going to fail.
Right.
As he points out later. That it's just junk, but it's a conveyor system that, shapes the rock on its own. And so that's the next level of his evil. Like, it's so weird. Like, why?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't, it was not necessary. You're right.
If you're going to embezzle from the company, why do you even care about what happens to the company after that? Mm-hmm. But anyway, so Fred, he gets sucked in and all this stuff, and then he's smarter than he seems, I guess. He starts to kind of figure out what's going on. He's signing all these things that he's not reading and everything. And his dictabird, which is an actual bird that speaks everything back to him with an English accent, he even advises him not to sign anything he hasn't read.
Yeah, an intelligent dictabird. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. The whole thing's weird, but yeah.
But I mean, that's what they do through the whole movie is they incorporate the different animals as, replacing machines.
I will say that it was interesting because after Fred is, it comes out like, oh, he's embezzling money even though he didn't. They start chasing him and everything, and all the people that lost their job at the quarry blame him for it, so they're chasing him as well.
Because he signed their pink slips.
Yeah. So he's hiding out and everything. Jonathan Winters is there for some reason for like 5 minutes.
He was a fan of the cartoon, probably.
I guess. But so they're gonna lynch him and all this stuff. And what's her name? Wilma gets the idea that, oh, the Dictabird probably heard everything. So she goes and gets it. I'm not sure how she knows that the evil guy went into Fred's office and, outlined his entire evil plan to him for some reason. But he did. And so she gets the bird, and the bird tells her everything it knows. So it tells them as well. And they end up taking it to the police or whatever, and whatever the equivalent of the police are. Mm-hmm. And so then they find that out too. And the big climactic end scene is they've kidnapped their kids and strapped them to this conveyor belt thing, and they're going to get crushed. And Barney goes and tries to help. He gets knocked out, and Fred has to, release the rock and destroy the thing to keep them from getting caught. And in the process, somehow creates concrete.
Right.
Because the water and the mud and everything and the rock all mix together, and it makes concrete. And, Mr. Slate, the owner of the company, says, I'm going to name it after my daughter, Concretia. And he wants to promote him, and he says, no, I just want my old job back, and then the benefits that they had talked about for the workers.
Right.
And he agrees to it, not knowing that healthcare costs are going to rise. And because it's going to cost him more than just paying Fred, I'm sure.
Right.
In the long run. But anyway, and that's kind of the end of the movie. Everything gets, put back the way it was. One thing I thought that was kind of weird is that at the beginning, they go to the movie theater in their car, and then they watch the movie along with us about their lives. And at the end, they leave the movie theater and go to get something to eat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really bizarre. Especially because they're in the movie. I mean, it's very meta, I guess.
Yeah, they're watching the movie that was made about this incident in their lives. And you would think, they'd get money from that.
Right.
Like likeness rights,
Well, maybe they do, but they handle it better.
Yeah, could be.
I don't know. I think the kids liked it. And I mean, I know you said you're not sure who the movie was for, but I mean, definitely a family movie. And I think the most important part of a family movie is that the kids enjoy it. I
guess.
And the parents don't go mind-numbingly, whatever.
Right. It was funny in parts. John Goodman and Rick Moranis are very funny.
Yes.
The women are also talented actresses, but don't get a lot to do in this movie.
I don't know. I mean, I think that they do enough.
Okay.
I mean, because, there's the shopping scene, and there's...
Da-da-da-da-da, charge it! Yeah.
And then, where they're, fighting, and they make up, and, showing all the stuff they do around the house. And I don't know.
A little. I
mean, they're not the stars, obviously. Fred and Barney are, but I think they do a decent amount.
All right. I don't know. You've convinced me. I don't really care. but yeah, they, they're in the movie, and I guess they're okay. I don't know. I just think Rosie O'Donnell and Elizabeth Perkins, I guess that's who it is, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that they could do more. That's my opinion. But, they're fine. They're fine in the movie. But John Goodman and Rick Moranis are really good in the film. They're very funny. And Sharon Stone's good in her limited role.
You mean Halle Berry?
Oh, yeah. That's right. Halle Berry.
Yeah, I think Halle Berry does a good job. I mean, she's just basically playing a sex kitten for most of it, but she does a good job.
Yeah, she'd be a good Catwoman.
She would. Yeah. Very, very true.
Yeah. Well, when you say sex kitten, that's the first thing I think of. Who is your favorite Catwoman? Well, you got Lee Merriweather. You've got Eartha Kitt, Julie Newmar, and oh man, I don't remember the other one's name. And Michelle Pfeiffer, obviously.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
That's a weird movie. She dies and gets cat powers because her cat's a licker. It's so weird. Anyway, so yeah, that's the Flintstones. What did you think overall? What was your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part? That's a really good question. Let me think. I'm going to go with when they're, like, I don't know if there was a favorite part. I mean, it's more just the feel of it. Like, seeing all the different, like, animals put in its machines and how they do things similar to the way we do things, but not. Like, I enjoyed that.
I thought it was just okay. You know, it was... One thing I liked is they took the elements of the TV show, kind of like you're talking about, and they faithfully adapted them to the big screen while also expanding the storyline to something that's more modern and more indicative of an actual movie.
Yeah.
The plot was a little convoluted, but it was okay. It was fine.
Yeah.
We've got other things coming up, you know, later in the summer. If you check the listings and everything, that I think will be better, but you know, we'll see.
Yep.
So we will end this week, as we end every week, with our blockbuster pick of the week. So our blockbuster pick of the week is Tombstone. We've talked about it a little bit before. It's the Wyatt Earp movie that's good, and I enjoy Tombstone. You haven't seen it yet, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? You saw it?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not. Sorry.
Well, tell me about it.
It's a cowboy movie. It's a cowboy movie with
Yeah, it is
some guys in it.
True. Val Kilmer.
Yeah, that's the one.
I like Val Kilmer a lot.
Me too.
He's very good. But anyway, that's our blockbuster pick of the week. Go out and rent Tombstone. We talked about it very early on in one of the tapes. Find the tape where we talked about it. We didn't go into a big thing. I think it was in the 1993 movie. I think it was the very first episode.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, anyway, go and check that out. It's a good movie. That's really the only thing coming out. The summer months at Blockbuster, as you guys may have gathered, is not the best time to get new releases because they know everyone's in the theater seeing all the new movies that come out during the summer. But, you know, check out Tombstone. It is good.
All right. And don't forget to leave money in my locker.
Yep, leave money in Carol's locker. That's how you listen to our secret tapes. And, I don't know, paint 5 stars on all lockers.
All of them.
Yeah.
Not just ours.
And if you want to write us a nice note about how much you love the show, you know.
Or how much you hate it.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that too. Any suggestions or anything that you want to hear, you can put in my locker. And, I don't know, just like all the other things. Do the things. And tell people.
The thing with the thing.
Yep, do that.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.